So you have heard Po Kwan's case studies, but is this something new? I'm here at the Sendex Center where I will be speaking to the CEO of NATAS, Mr. Robert Khoo, to find out more. Mr. Khoo, are Singaporeans having more holidays than before?
I think so, because in recent years, we are seeing Singaporeans taking up more holidays in a year, but going to nearer places instead of saving for one long holiday in a year for a year. Yeah.
And this is in spite of the economic recession and all that.
It started in fact well before this economic recession started. We have been seeing this trend, I think, for the last at least 4 or 5 years already. Yeah.
Okay. And how are these people going? I mean, where have the holidaying patterns of Singaporeans changed in any way?
Because in order to take many holidays a year, you can't be going to expensive holidays. Yeah. So many of them have opted for shorter holidays to nearer places. For example, like Thailand, but going there very often.
Okay.
So that I think they need breaks more than a long holiday.
Okay, that's because, do you think it's because also it's so much cheaper to go Thailand now than other places? You have tour packages that are really you pay barely more than just the tax. I mean the oil tax and all that. Do you think it's...
Yeah, definitely, because Thailand has become very affordable. Even Malaysia is also very attractive. In fact, a few of the ASEAN countries are in fact very attractive. So if you go for this holiday 4 times a year, you probably end up cheaper than one European trip or one US trip.
Okay, you were saying that business travel has sort of gone down, is it?
Yes, I think since the start of the recession, company has been cutting down on their traveling costs. A lot now have teleconferencing and so forth. So business travel has gone down at least 30%.
At least 30%, and so leisure travel, has it gone up?
Leisure travel still holding on quite well. I think Singaporeans basically, even in a recession, they have savings, and because maybe some of them lost a job or have more time now, they actually still travel for leisure. And we are seeing also people grabbing far away holiday packages, like Europe. If it's sold at a very attractive rate. Okay,
you're mentioning something very interesting in Australia, that people travel in a pay-as-you-go kind of scheme. Can you explain a bit more about that?
As far as I know, in Australia, because I think they don't have very much habit in saving money.
Yep.
So what they do is every month they put aside certain money with the travel agent.
Okay.
So maybe it's for a year, So after the end of the year, they would have paid the travel agent for the tour package price, and then they go for their holiday. So it's not a credit; it's an advance payment, and they feel less painful that way because it's being paid in small installments.
That's true. But Singapore is different, right? Singapore, like a lot of travel agencies, have worked in tandem with credit card companies, and then it's sort of like you pay in installments to your credit card, and then you take a holiday. What do you think about that?
I think if you can afford it and you are just making use of the financial services that's offered to you at no interest rate, etc., I think that's a great plan, because why pay upfront when you don't have to?
Yeah.
But I think if you don't have the means to travel and you need to use that credit facility available to you by the credit card to travel, and then start paying for the holiday after you come back.
Yep.
I think that's not something we should be doing too much. I think it's not a good way of spending your money.
Okay. We were discussing this just now, that it could be that Singaporeans, the younger Singaporeans, are getting more westernized, because you were saying that Australians don't have a habit of saving. Yeah. So do you think that it's because Singaporeans, they sort of think like, okay, rather than save up for a future or for a rainy day, they would rather just spend it right now, just to have that moment of happiness for a bit?
I think yes, to a large extent I agree with you. I can remember my father's generation. They try to save every cent they earn, or even more.
Yep.
So I think coming to my generation is already not so intense. The determination to save and so forth. But coming to my children's generation, I think we're seeing a different group of people all together, and people tend to spend everything they have, or have little savings, or even use credit facility to pay for what they spend. Yeah.
Okay, so so you're a CEO of NATAS. Where are people headed nowadays? Like from Singapore, do you see a large number of them heading just to ASEAN countries, or are they heading further?
From the survey we did during our travel fair, every year we do that. This year, China takes #1 spot.
Oh,
it has been top 3, for the last many years, but this year it take top spot. Surprisingly, Europe came back as a second position.
Wow, okay.
Because I think many companies are offering very special rates,
Yeah.
which I think travelers know that when the economy picks up again, they won't be able to get this
Good deal.
deal again.
Yeah.
Third place is Japan, and Japan was #1 for last 2 years.
Yeah.
So now it's gone to third place. Korea and then Taiwan. So these are in fact the 5 top destinations.
So any last tips or advice for Singaporeans who want to travel?
Okay, I think most important thing is don't just look at price. This has always been my advice. Don't just look at price. Look at contents. What you get for how much. And if it's something you have to pay more, but you get better value for more that you pay, go for that. Just don't compare just based on price alone.
Okay, I think that's what a lot of people are doing, because like the FS, budget airlines, they're so cheap, so they pay for it and then they go and then they don't know what to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of inconvenience and things like that. So for every cent you pay, there is a value attached to it. Go for the best value, not the best price.
Sounds like sage advice to me, but that doesn't really explain why some people are addicted to travelling. So I decided to go find Dr. Adrian Wang, a consultant psychiatrist at Gleneagles, to find out more about the rationale behind such behaviour. I'm here with Dr. Adrian Wang, and he's going to let us in a bit about the thinkings and the workings behind people that are addicted to travelling or addicted to a form of escapism. So the first question is, in light of the recent downturn, are you seeing an increase in the number of people being addicted to anything, or?
I do see an increase in people who are turning to other solutions to their problem. So things like drinking, computer gaming, taking sleeping pills. I would say that these things are somewhat on the rise. And yes, people do get addicted to these things.
Yeah. How about travelling? Do you think that's a feasible thing? Because like some of the case studies that my colleague has done, right? These people, they run bad debts. They take loans from credit card companies. What do you think about such things?
I think it's a form of escapism. I don't see it strictly as a clinical addiction, like people are addicted to alcohol or drugs, like heroin, that sort of thing. I see it more as an extreme coping mechanism. We all cope with stress in different ways, and all of us have probably had a glass of wine to de-stress, to chill, and we go on a trip to chill out, go for a weekend, a beach getaway. But if you keep doing it and run yourself into bad debts, and you do it even though you know you don't have the time or the money to do it, then it becomes harmful. And that sounds a bit like an addiction. But like I said, I see it more like an escape mechanism that has gone wrong. Okay.
What's the defining line between like being addicted and, it's sort of escape mechanism? What's the defining line?
Okay. Well, an escape mechanism is a good thing. We all need to chill. We all need to de-stress, And it's okay to do this once in a while, and you come back feeling better. So an escape mechanism helps you. You feel better and you feel more relaxed and chilled after it. But an addiction harms you. And by definition, an addiction is something that you crave. In other words, when you don't get it, you need to get your fix. So there's withdrawal, okay? And you go and do it even when you know you shouldn't. You should be working, but you go and do it. You should be paying your bills, but you spend money on it. So this can be anything. It can be alcohol, it can be drugs, it can be sex, it can be a computer game, and it can be frequent travel, although much less commonly, as you described in your case studies.
And do you think it's because of the quality or the pace of life in Singapore?
I think we all agree that the pace of life in Singapore can be hectic and stressful, and I think it's been made worse because of the downturn. I think everyone has been impacted in some way or other.
Okay, you were saying that there's a sort of group of people, usually in their 20s or 30s. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
I think that this is the age, in your 20s to 40s when...
is it like high risk?
It's high risk because that's the age where we have earning power. People have come out of school and they've started working, so they have the means to do things. You see, and but this is also an age group where we're exposed to a lot of stress because that's the time when you need to pay your car loan, pay your housing loan. That's the time when you get married. That's the time when you're climbing up the corporate ladder because of your work stress. So you have the spending power because you're working, but you're also stressed, highly stressed in that age group. You're getting married, you got work, that sort of stuff. So I see many patients in that age group, in that working adult age group, 20s to 40s.
And do they you were saying that some of them, they say, heck, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down in sort of like a blaze of glory kind of thing.
Yeah, I've seen a few patients who are suffering from depression, and right now the flavor of the month is you're depressed because you've lost your job, you've lost a lot of money in the stock market, and the recession is affecting you badly. So sometimes people experience extreme behaviour. So I've had a couple of patients say, like what I told you, if I'm going down in a blaze of glory. So I had a patient who told me, I don't care, I'm going to take a break for 2 weeks. I deserve a rest. I've been really stressed, so I'm going to stay in a 5-star hotel. I'm going to sign up for expensive spa treatments while I'm there. I'm going to buy some designer clothes and jewelry. And I say to the guy, hey, look, you're out of a job, okay?
Yeah.
And you're going to get married soon. You told me about that. So aren't you worried about that? And he says, I don't care, I'm going to take that risk. So it's a form of risk-taking behavior.
Yep.
And sometimes people are a little bit more inclined to take risks because they have this heck care attitude. It's like, if I'm going down, heck lah, I'll just do it.
What measures can one take to moderate their addiction?
Well, you've got to do a reality check. You've got to take a step back and ask yourself, is what I'm doing helping me? The trouble is when we are stressed out and we are doing something like traveling, escaping, we just go blindly. We don't stop to take a reality check. So we need a reality check. Secondly, you need to listen to the advice of people who care about you or your close friends. So if your friend says, hey, look, dude, you shouldn't be doing this, you gotta...
You're running a bad debt.
You're running a bad debt and you owe me money even. Then you need to take a good hard look at yourself. And then thirdly, you have to face up to reality. Reality is painful. Nobody wants to take a look at their bills and say, hey man, I owe tens of thousands of dollars, I don't have a job, I might not be able to pay my rent or my bills at the end of this month. But you have to bite the bullet and then and deal with it. And the way to deal with problems is, when the problem seems too big, is to break it up into smaller parts. So deal with small solvable things first. Pay off some loans, fix some things, learn to relax in other ways. Because if you just look at the big problem as a whole, you feel completely helpless and overwhelmed.